Are you thinking about moving to Beaverton, Oregon and looking for new construction? Well, in this video, we're going to look at the best new construction deals in Beaverton, and all that starts now. Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Paul Clem with the Oregon Relocation Team coming to you from Portland, Oregon. In this video, we're going to look at Beaverton, Oregon, which is a huge west side suburb bordering Portland on Portland's west side. Beaverton has a ton of different neighborhoods, different styles of neighborhoods, age of homes. You get a lot of older development, newer development. So there really is something for everybody here. Beaverton itself is a little bit disjointed, but you can basically break it out to a northern region, a central region, and a southern region of Beaverton. Now, this northern region of Beaverton isn't actually Beaverton at all. We'll talk about that. These are areas like Cedar Mill, Bethany, and Oak Hills, for example. But these areas feed into Beaverton School District. You're just as far west, but again, on the north side in this case, as you are in other parts of Beaverton. So Portland address, Washington County, a little bit confusing. We're going to consider these areas when we're talking about new construction in particular, because there's a ton of new construction going on in Bethany specifically. You have Central Beaverton, which is kind of old Beaverton, Old Town Beaverton. You have downtown Beaverton here. You have older, more established neighborhoods in a lot of ways of Beaverton, like Greenway, South Beaverton, West Beaverton, Highland, even closer to touching Portland, like Denny Whitford or West Slope. So you get a lot of variety, but a lot of older charm, let's say, in Central Beaverton, and access to Central Beaverton, downtown Beaverton, which has really a lot going on. This is an area that is really up and coming and has really become in the last 5 or 10 years, a really good little entertainment district. So downtown Beaverton, lots of fun. And then the southern side of Beaverton, we're talking about like Murray Hill. We're talking about what's called now Neighbors Southwest, Sexton Mountain. This is definitely going to be the most removed part of Beaverton, from Portland, at least. So you can get a little bit buried. It's very suburban, but not unlike Bethany and Cedar Mill and kind of this northern part of Beaverton too. So before we go any further, if this is your first time to the channel or you've been here and you haven't already and you want to get more videos like this, make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the little bell to get notified every time we drop a new video. And we've helped a ton of people relocate to Oregon, move to the Portland metro area. As real estate professionals, we'd love to help with that process. So if that's you, give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, or you can click the link down below in the description of the video, schedule a Zoom call with us, and we can have a conversation like this. Um, well, this isn't quite a conversation, obviously. This is more of a monologue, but we can talk about, in this case, we can talk more about new construction in different parts of Beaverton, the west side, or the Portland metro area as a whole. Okay, so Beaverton is a very, very popular landing spot for people who are relocating to Portland. And we can talk about why that is. I don't want to get too far in the weeds in this video. We're talking about new construction specifically in Beaverton and what the best deals are right now. Toward the end of the video, I'll talk a little bit about some of the benefits of buying new construction beyond just getting a nice newer house that isn't going to have any deferred maintenance. So stick around to the end because we'll talk about some of the benefits, in particular from a financial perspective of buying from a builder directly. But for now, let's jump right into it. Okay. Oh, I'm down here now. Okay, so I was talking a little bit about Beaverton and probably had some graphics overlaid as I was talking about it, but this is a pretty good illustration of, again, how disjointed Beaverton is. I mean, you could draw a circle from all the way up here in Bethany down, say about 185th, all the way down around Cooper Mountain, Murray Hill, this area, and then back up around 217, and then circling back up to Bethany. This is all going to be Beaverton School District. So, you can see everything here is just as far west, but not everything's in Beaverton city limits. So Bethany, Cedar Mill, Oak Hills, famously unincorporated Washington County. And, maybe it'll get annexed someday. But again, these are all Beaverton schools. In fact, there's two high schools up here north of Highway 26. Sunset High School is in here. That's primarily going to be, Cedar Mill and some of Bethany feeding into Sunset. And then Westview High School is all the way out here on 185th on the north side. And then the rest of Beaverton proper is south of Highway 26 here. Areas like Cedar Hills, West Slope, and then you get out west and south, and this is going to be a distinctly different region. This is kind of what I would refer to as the southern section of Beaverton. So Sexton Mountain, Neighbors Southwest, Murray Boulevard being the main artery here. And this is, there's a big development called Murray Hill. And that's what people have referred to this area as historically. And then most recently, the South Cooper Mountain area, which is all new construction. So if I look at the aerial here like this, it's all more filled in even than what this aerial shot shows. So you got a new high school out here, Mountainside High School, beautiful campus. And then you have all this new construction going on. So this is primarily what we're going to focus on when we're talking about the best deals right now for new construction. I'm going to jump into it, I promise, but I do want to point out that if we're looking at affordability or what, another way of saying that is the best deals right now for new construction in Beaverton, probably the biggest trade-off overall is your location, your proximity to Portland. Because generally, and we've talked about it a lot as a rule of thumb, the further away you get from the city center throughout the metro area, generally the more affordable you get. And I think that's reflected in the prices down here to some degree, because although as the crow flies, not super far down here in the South Cooper Mountain neighbor Southwest area, but 210, this is Shoals Ferry Road right here, is really kind of your only way, at least to take the hypotenuse, getting back toward Portland, or you could go up Murray here, to Highway 10 or 8, and then kind of make your way back east toward Portland. But there's not a major freeway here. So you're hitting traffic lights, it can get congested. And if you're living down here, you're probably not getting up to Portland even as much as you think you would because of some relative inconvenience. Okay, let's jump into it here. So I broke this out by size. So we're going to see 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, but starting with 1,500 to 2,000 square feet, these are a couple of the best options that I'm seeing in Beaverton. And if we look at the map, you'll see we're down here in this South Cooper Mountain area. So that area, again, really nice, new, getting developed as we speak. There's a lot to like, but it is a little bit out there. But we're looking at under 600,000, brand new home, 3 beds, two and a half baths, almost 1,800 square feet. Comfortable layout, pretty typical of what you would see around 1,800 square feet. A little bit of an outdoor space, a little bit of grass. You're not going to always get that, and you'll see that in some of these examples that we'll be looking at. So another one under 600, over 2,000 square feet. Now in this case, 3 beds, two and a half baths. A little bit of a different floor plan, different builder. And there are for sure variations and differences with the builders you're working with. Just from an experience standpoint, their process, the finishes that they can offer, the level of customization. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about some of the benefits of buying new construction, buying from builders, and some of the positive aspects of that here in a minute. But they're not all created equal for sure. And part of that will be reflected uh, in the price. I think just about everything I pulled up is in this area. So if we're looking at where the most affordable new construction is, I mean, spoiler alert, it's down in the South Cooper Mountain neighbor southwest part of Beaverton. So the next search was 2,000 square feet to 2,500. Still an option under 600,000, which is great. But 4 bedrooms in this case, 21, a little over 2,100 square feet, two and a half baths. This has become a really popular style of home for builders. I haven't got the best feedback from clients that I've worked with. And style I'm referring to is this stacked floor plan where you drive in to the garage and the house is basically stacked on top, where you have the main level is your second level, and then you have an upstairs area. But a really nice new home. Maybe the floor plan isn't quite what you're envisioning necessarily, but still a nice new house over 2,100 square feet, four beds, under 600,000. I think with a lot of what we're seeing right here, if you look at a like for like comparison, but not new, uh, resale home in some of these areas, you're not going to find prices as good as this necessarily. If we're looking at a comparable condition, obviously a house that's going to need a lot of work, has a lot of deferred maintenance, needs major system upgrades or repairs, that's going to be taken into account. But I think really you're looking at some really good deals with new construction right now. So, okay, 2,500 to 3,000 square feet, five bedrooms, two and a half baths, little more typical of kind of that move up home, second home, forever home. We're seeing options under 700,000, which is pretty remarkable. Um, I mean, a five bedroom, call it 2,700 square foot home with nice new updates, really nicely remodeled, similar in terms of a feel as what you would get to new construction. Even in this area, you're not going to be under $700,000. You could be a little under eight, but you're probably going to be closer to 775 to, maybe 900. Again, some really good deals going on in new construction. So the same search criteria, if we look at just size, this one's four bedrooms, uh, almost 2,700 square feet, 710 on this one. So not quite under six, but I mean, still a smoking deal. So this backyard's not finished. Um, Looks like maybe a little more basic finishes, at least in this example, but still, um, you know, 2,700 square feet, four bedrooms, right at 710 in a nice brand new neighborhood. You see this note right here, rate promo on this home. We'll talk about that toward the end here, but that is definitely one of the benefits of buying new construction right now. So getting up a little bit closer to eight, um, you know, over 2,800 square feet, 780, four bedrooms on this one. A little more standard in terms of a floor plan and style when you compare it to a lot of the new construction going on right now. It looks like a nice big basement bonus room, which is awesome. We're not going to find that all the time unless you're built into a slope, but it looks like there's even a little usable yard back there. Throw a little grass in, maybe terrace it a bit. You can kind of see we're here in this South Cooper Mountain region, just west of Neighbor Southwest, Progress Ridge. Now in here too, you have this Murray Hill Marketplace shopping center here. A lot of stuff going on there. And then newer, you have Progress Ridge. It doesn't show it, but there is a lake right here. And there's restaurants and shops. Big Al's, like a family fun center, is right there. So there's a lot to do right there on your doorstep. You don't have to get up into downtown Beaverton. You don't have to get up into Portland, to find some of that entertainment living in this area. So yes, it's further out, but there is quite a bit to do, right here locally. I'll point out here too, real quick. You see where we are relative to Bull Mountain, and Bull Mountain is basically tigered. Half of Bull Mountain is unincorporated, like that north part of Beaverton. But Bull Mountain, again, is basically tigered. So if we look at relative to where tigered is, you're kind of right on the border of Beaverton and tigered. So just if you drop just south of this area where all this new construction is going on, you have River Terrace, and then up Bull Mountain Road, ton of new construction going on here in this area as well. And you can find some pretty comparable prices. So we're talking about Beaverton, but just want to point out that a lot of this new construction is going on just south of this area in Beaverton as too, but you're going to be into Tigard or at least Tigard School District. So moving up in size, now we're up over 3,000 square feet, 750 on this one. So, this one's 780 for 2,800 square feet, 750 on 3,100 square feet, five bedrooms, maybe a little more of a quirky style here, or at least less typical compared to mostly what we're seeing. But if you're like, hey, I want new construction, I want as big a home as I can get for as little money as I can get. I mean, this is a really good example of like, again, you're getting 3,100 square feet for 750, which if you're buying resale is going to be really hard to come by for something comparable in terms of the condition. Now, these new construction homes definitely have different layouts than homes that you were getting built in the 2000s and 90s in particular. Definitely more traditional layouts, homes built 20, 25, 30 years ago, but totally functional here. So if you are set on more of a traditional floor plan or layout, you might be less likely to get that. Maybe the trade-off isn't worth it necessarily, but we're focusing on the best deals, at least on paper. So, again, 3,100 square feet, 750, 765, right at 3,000 square feet. Another one, this one's a little more of a traditional layout, or a little more typical, at least in terms of what you would expect to get with new construction right now. Definitely all white. And again, these are all down in that same area. Now here's one up in Northwest, and I pulled this out to illustrate, 765, 750, right about 3,000 square feet. Here we're right about 3,000 square feet. One less bedroom, although there's probably a bonus room or office that makes, that fills that space. But you're up to 825, and you have this kind of stacked floor plan that, again, I haven't really seen that many people gravitating toward. But this is a good opportunity to show you where some of this new construction is going on up north. So we were all the way down here looking at this area. Now up here, again, you're just as far west, but you have a little more of a direct shot getting into Portland. So, I think people like living in Bethany. Bethany's great for what it is. And just like Progress Ridge or Murray Hill, little shopping center, Bethany has a great little kind of downtown shopping center area. Claremont Golf Course is right there. So there's a lot to like about Bethany, regardless of location. But I think people do enjoy the proximity you get to Portland living in Bethany. It's not that close necessarily, but it's just a little more of a direct shot. And this North Bethany area in particular, there's a ton of new construction going on up in this area. It's going to be, I don't know, just ballpark 10, 15, 20% probably more expensive than what you're getting in that southern section of Beaverton. And location is just kind of the one thing to point to as far as maybe what the trade-off is, because the area that they're building in the southern section of Beaverton is objectively very nice, beautiful landscape. You have all these wooded areas, rolling hills, and you have that same type of topography and aesthetic uh, up in Bethany and North Bethany. And you have similar amenities. I mean, walking trails, paths, parks, green spaces, things like that. So, held side by side, they are very similar in terms of what they offer. It's just their location in terms of where they sit in the metro area on the west side, really the biggest difference. And the builders that are building in the different areas too. There's different builders building north and south, and then there's some crossover too. So interestingly, the 3,000 to 3,500 square feet. I mean, there were options, plenty of options up to 900, 950, especially once you work your way into Northwest, into that Bethany area. And again, here's three options, 825 or less. But then when you push a little bit higher on the search, over 3,500 square feet, you're not going to be under probably 1.2. And then this kind of shows you the contrast, and also shows you like what they're doing at volume too, versus these 3,500, 4,000 square foot plus homes. So this one is a little bit further east, a little bit closer into Portland, not quite in that Bethany area, but west side, kind of in that Beaverton School District circle. But 5 bedrooms, a little bit bigger than a lot of what we've seen, but 2.5 million. And it's like, okay, yeah, the location is a little bit closer to Portland, maybe a little bit better in terms of what most people are looking for. But I think there's a big discrepancy too when you look at the finishes. And this is going to be more custom, more upscale, higher end finishes across the board, more design detail, architecturally, maybe in this case, maybe a little more traditional than some of what we've seen. Um, you're not getting that. You're not getting the outdoor fireplace. All these different details in terms of the finishes and design with the kitchen. We could just keep going. A lot of what we looked at, if we're looking at what the best deals are, uh, this is not reflective of that. So just something to point out. All right, so I didn't get the exact time on that, so I've probably rambled on more than I planned to. That's almost always the case. But we'll talk a little bit about the benefits of buying new construction, and ultimately it comes down to a lot of what we've talked about already is you can just be, from the sticker price alone, relative to what you can get some really, really good deals. Uh, but also, builders are offering a ton of incentives that on the resale side, sellers just, I mean, ultimately, in most cases, can't afford to offer. Whether it's a $10,000, $15,000, $20 or $20,000 credit at closing toward your closing costs, or buying down your interest rate, or maybe doing that in combination with buying down your interest rate, advertising a promotional rate that is significantly less than what you could get just going through your own lender. So, a builder might be paying 15, 20, $25,000 to buy down your interest rate to like 5% or 4 3/4 potentially. So, that kind of depends on where things are at or where things are at any given time. But you're looking at, these really, in a lot of cases, affordable entry points, again, relative to what you're getting. And then also the opportunity to have significantly less monthly payments if you are financing. Now, maybe you're not financing, or maybe the monthly payment isn't as important. Often you can take what they're willing to offer and apply that to upgrades either right out of the gate. So you might say, hey, builder, here's our offer, but we want you to install air conditioning. We want you to finish the landscaping. We want you to extend the deck, whatever it may be. If you're building ground up, you might say, we want you to extend this bedroom or this living area, this way or that way. There's more flexibility when you're building ground up. But point being, or two, at kind of the design phase, if you are building ground up, you're going to get all these options for plumbing fixtures and lighting and flooring and cabinets and paint, etc. down the line. And there's definitely opportunities to spend tens of thousands of dollars more than the sticker price, making those types of upgrades. And builders, again, if you might get into a situation where you can take advantage of some promotion they're offering and apply that to design upgrades, maybe $15,000 toward design upgrades, as you're going through that process. So if we're looking at what you can get, again, on paper, but also with those incentives, really improving your margin in terms of what you're coming away with, versus what you paid for it, again, compared to what you can get resale in the market right now. Now, lastly, too, builders offer a ton of flexibility. If you're buying resale, if you're buying from somebody who needs to move out of their house and they're on a strict timeline, there's less flexibility with how you can coordinate moving in, or they may need rent back, for example. You're not going to get any of that. You're not going to be up against any of those constraints or roadblocks when you're dealing with a builder. And if you're making a contingent offer, which a lot of people are, especially if you're buying your second home, kind of that move up home, um, builders are very open to a contingent offer. We've done a ton of contingent offers with sellers too, of resale in the last couple of years. But with a builder, it's purely a business decision. There's far less risk to get somebody in the door with a contingent offer than there is for your traditional seller. So if you are thinking about moving to Portland, if new construction is interesting, if you're thinking about Beaverton, other West Side suburbs, or other parts of the metro area, if you want to talk about new construction in those areas, or what the market's like, what the process might be like, we are here to answer your questions. You can give us a call, send us a text, shoot us an email, click the link down below in the description of the video, schedule a Zoom call with us, and we can dig into all that a lot more. If this video was helpful, make sure to hit the like button. That helps us out a lot. And if you want to get more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Tap the little bell to get notified every time we drop a new video. As always, really appreciate you watching. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.